Hello and welcome to City UI Explained, our cities and provinces. Alright, so I'm loaded into my Crete playthrough here just so we can take a look. It's not in observation mode. Alright, so there's two ways to divide your world. Three ways, technically. We've looked at some with map modes with UI Explained. There are cities. You can see the cities here. Cities are what you would call counties in Crusader Kings 2, or you would call them provinces in EU4. Cities are much smaller, and the aesthetics of them do change over time the more pops there are in them. But we'll talk about that. Next, you have provinces. You can go to the provinces map mode, and you can see every province in the game. Provinces are like CK2 duchies or EU4 states. They are larger. When you are taking an entire province from a country in a war, it costs less war score than if you were taking just a few cities, which is interesting and can save you a lot. All right. And then above that, we have regions. There it is. The region map mode. Regions are a little different. They're kind of think of them as like kingdoms from CK2. There's nothing really to go with them in EU4 except maybe, I guess, trade zones to a point, kind of. So a region determines the governor. Notice we have land in three regions here with Crete. We have land down here in Sciancia, we have land in Greece, and we have land over here in Asia. This determines how many governors we had. If we took Sicily, we would have to have another governor. This is not affected by states. What is affected... Yeah. So the more land you have in different regions, the more governors you have to have. If it's in your home region, it's ruled by your ruler. After that, you appoint people. You want people that have high finesse, or the seaweed. And you want people that... Ooh, our sun's about to die. Well, this is getting better now, but that's still not good. And they can have corruption, which affects things. There's tells you how many pops there are. We only own 2 cities over here, so there's only 44 pops compared to the number of cities we own over here. Alright. But back to provinces. Provinces have their own loyalty, which has to do with how well they're doing in terms of being sieged by enemies, food, pops, how much they like it. And you notice that there's policies. So a governor sets a policy for each province. In your capital region ruled by your ruler, it's easy to change the province, what it's there as. You just click, you can choose. Acquisition of wealth. We actually lack the power right here. I am going to cheat real quick. Power. There we go. So we can show you. So I can show you because it doesn't show the tooltips if you don't have the power. So there you go. Acquisition of wealth. You get local tax, commerce income, but the governors cost, they get a much higher wage. That goes into their personal income. A religious conversion, it causes 1 unrest, but there's a chance for 1 pop to be converted to your faith. The conversion chance has to do with the skills of the governor. Notice here's 20%. We come down here with this guy, and it's 15%. What you can also do is cultural assimilation, which also causes 1 unrest. 15%. 35%. Oops. And 32.5%. Depends on their finesse skill, their oratory skill, their finesse skill, their zeal. Next one is bleed them dry. This one causes 2 local unrest, gives you more taxes, more income. It also hurts pop growth, so it has a good chance of killing your pops. And if you're not careful, your governors will pick this and kill your pops. But it is good when you're fighting a war and you really, really need that money. Just make sure they don't revolt on you. Borderlands. It's like it says, it goes on your borderlands. It gives you more manpower and more fort defense. This came in very handy when playing as Sicily and we were getting invaded by Carthage and Egypt. Made the attrition hurt a lot worse for them. Encourage trade. You get one extra local import route. And you get more commerce income, which is also good. Social mobility. So you would think that this is just increasing your Well, it lowers your local citizen output, which means it hurts their tech. But one pop in, there's a 5% chance, at least in here, one pop in every applicable province city will be promoted or demoted, aiming at reaching an even split between citizens, freemen, and slaves. It does not touch tribesmen. If you want to get rid of tribesmen, you have to promote them yourself. But this does move your citizens, slaves, and freemen around to create a more even balance. So it's something to do when you notice that maybe you're getting a little slave heavy from all those wars and adventures you've been doing. The only problem with this, though, is that it does cause a few potential issues because it doesn't actually move them around inside the province. It only moves them inside the city, up and down. Next is local autonomy. People create 75% less. They create less tax income, they create less commerce income, less research points, less manpower, but they're happier. So it's, it's a way to just be like, okay, don't revolt on me, do what you want, leave me alone. Like that. And then civilization effort. Whoops. Civilization effort. So it's much like chance that you will promote one tribesman pop. So there we go. That's how you promote your tribesmen. And they either get promoted up to be a freeman or down to be a slave. It's a hard life being a tribesman in a civilized area. It also increases the civilization chance there. So change. Which if we go into our regular mode here and click. See, this place has like no civilization. We are working on promoting civilization change. And so it's going up a little faster thanks to that, which is good. We lost it all because barbarians came and sieged it. Another thing to know is that, let's go click here. If we want to change this governor policy, it just costs us 50 oratory power. That's it. If we come and change this guy's, our other governors, cost 50 oratory, and it also gives us tyranny. Tyranny has negative and positive modifiers. It makes our primary culture unhappy. Our generals and admirals and governors start losing loyalty. But the slaves produce more, and it costs less to imprison people and execute people. So, there's pluses and minuses. Pluses and minuses. But let's go take a look at a city. We'll take a look at our capital here. Right up here, these are the trade goods that are coming into the city. Either they are being grown in this province, because every trade good in a province is available in every single province. If you notice that these are not changing when I'm clicking around. But if I come over here to this province, they have different trade goods, because they are not importing anything at the moment. The only trade goods they have are the ones they're making: wine, vegetables, iron, and grain. When we come down here, these guys are importing and so they're importing grain, I believe. Yes, traded from province of Memphis. So they have all of this. And what this is, guys, is the surplus. Surpluses add a bonus. So each resource type adds a bonus, like fish increases population growth by 0.05. Because each additional surplus gives a 0.02. So we're actually increasing pop growth here by plus 15%, which is pretty darn good. Up here in our capital, we've got one surplus, one surplus, one surplus. It's usually good to keep like one surplus, especially in your capital, because a surplus in your capital gives a different bonus than just a surplus. Like so here, wood. Just one thing of wood allows you to build boats. Each surplus gives you a local tax plus 3%. The surplus in your capital increases your trireme discipline. And if you're exporting it, you're also increasing your trireme discipline. So it's pretty useful to be able to have a surplus in your capital. Because you get a special different bonus than just a regular surplus. But those are your trade goods. This tells you how many extra you have. There's also a chance of piracy, depending on how many your trade routes. The more trade routes you have, the more chance of piracy. You can combat it by having forts on your, sorry, not forts, the coastal defense forts, which is a invention we unlocked. You can also combat it by having ships just hanging out in ports. So it might be more worthwhile to split up your navies and have them hanging out different areas. Because you can still get pirates. Like over here, we actually have a 0.5% chance. Because that minus 10% chance from coastal defense forts doesn't do a thing. So we would probably want to put some ships in a port over here. And they would do... Essentially, you would consider them doing patrols up and down the coastline and keeping it out the way of the pirates. Think of it that way. Here's your trade route, so you can click and see. There's no current imports we can do here because we don't have any range. But if we come and look down here where we do have a trade... Oh. No, you guys didn't. Where did I not do it? Oh, sorry. I apologize. Up here. Up here we have the trade route. Green check marks mean you can trade. Red check marks mean there's nobody who will trade with you. Steppe horses, there's nobody. But if we go to horses, we can trade inside or outside of our empire. So we are Crete. So we can trade it inside. We can move things from Barca, which is down there in Africa, and we can ship horses. You can also potentially trade with other people. You can say no. Strategic trade goods, people are not very willing to trade. You have to have a very good opinion with them. And again, if they're going to trade and lose their capital bonus, they don't like that. Something easier would be like grain. And see, they're much happier. They'll lose their capital, but they like us. These guys, they won't. They're just happy. We're giving them military access. They don't care. Then their opinion of us is positive. So, you can get a bonus. You can pick which one is good for you. Usually grain's a good base one because it increases pop growth. And more pops mean more work, more manpower, more money, more everything, more research. We like pops. Alright. Back here to our capital. Here is your other screen. There's the name of your city. It changes. Transfer occupation. If you are at war and you have occupied a place, you can choose to transfer the occupation to somebody else, which is very useful. Alright, over here we also have Cretan administration and state-owned farmlands. These are any little bonuses you get through events and such. Some are end of game, others are not. If you are playing over here, for example, or playing up with Pompeii, and a volcano happens, you will get a terrible malice here, a temporary modifier. You can go up to your decisions tab, and there is a decision there if you have enough gold to fix the land. Which is a good thing to know, because it is slowly killing all your pops. Also, over here, we have holdings. If anyone owns any holdings here. Holdings are less specific. We did have someone that was having a holding here. It's a chance for a governor. Oh yeah, he's got a holding up here. There we go. So there are 2 gold holdings here. Basically, your governors and your generals have made enough money that they have bought land. It's off the map, but it is something to keep in mind because it does provide them with another source of income. And it provides them with a source of income if they are not the governor. Which is interesting. It's something to play around with. And back here, your city buildings tells you how many you can have, how many you have versus how many you can have. We have 7 out of 7 here. These are based on your pops. And down to pops, there are your citizens. They provide research and commerce value. Freemen, they provide manpower. Tribesmen provide base tax and manpower. And slaves provide base tax. So a tribesman does not provide as much tax or manpower as a slave or a freeman, but they provide both, which these guys are very specialized. The one thing to remember about tribesmen, though, is that they are very unhappy if they are living anywhere that has high civilization. If we click here and hover, you can see civilization value plus 71% happiness. Tribesmen get that as a negative. About half of it is a negative. So I believe it's for, citizens and freemen. Freemen, see, do not carry as much, 49%. They care about civilization, but not to the same extent that citizens do. Slaves, they could not care less if this is civilized or not, because they're still slaves. And then here it kind of shows you how much happiness there are. From this menu, you can click on them. You can promote them up. Citizens don't have anywhere to go. You can convert them to your religion. You can assimilate them. You can move them to a different place. Citizens cost more money to move. If your ruler is corrupt, they cost even more. You can only move pops inside of your province. If they're on the edge of the province, then you can move them to a different province next door. So if I go here with this way, and I move, I can... Oh, sorry. I can move to Rhodes, because Rhodes is still the same sea tile and next door. But I can't move to Rhodes from my capital city. What also to keep in mind is over here in your city buildings, you have marketplaces, which give tax, commerce income, civilization level. You have training camps, which give manpower. You have fortresses, which give fort level. Every fort level in a city takes 5k men to siege. If you go under 5k, you cannot siege it. So right now we get a fort level of +1 in our capital city, because it is our capital city, so someone needs at least 5k men to siege it down. Other places we have built forts, and so we have +5%, +5k. And it has a ticking modifier, quite a lot like CK2 and EU4. Provinces without forts are very, very easy to take. They literally just stand there for a little bit and take them. But forts can also siege them down. That's something you can see in Let's Plays quite often. And then we also have granaries. Granaries increase pop growth, and they also increase slave happiness. You can hover here and who's growing and why. There we go. Every month month is 1.0%. 2% hills cost less. The amount of population takes it away as well. But a lot of other things add to it. And you can add to it more. But eventually there is a limit to how many pops can live in a city without them starting to decline. Down below we have the primary culture here. The primary religion. You can build units. Basically any resources that are available in this province. We have wood and we have iron, so we can build boats and heavy infantry as well as archers and light infantry. If we come down here to Crete, to this province, and we go to build units, you can build your archers and your light infantry, but we can also build light cav and heavy cav because they have horses. If we come over here to this area, they can only build light and archers because they have no special strategic resources available to them here. Alright. Next up, you have your income. This is how much you're making from commerce and tax and why you're making it. Your manpower. This is how much manpower you're getting it and why you're getting it. This is your research. How much you're getting, why you're getting. And then any unrest that could possibly be caused. Over here, there is your special resource for that city. It tells you how many you're getting. That means, you know, we get a base of 1. And then because we have so many slaves, it's about 15 slaves per wood. Then we're getting an excess that we're keeping for ourselves. And then we have 2 more in excess that we're trading away. Here's your next up, here's the fact that we're in the hills. What it happens to it hurts pop growth, movement cost is added. There's a lot of hills around here. There's the forest. That's the modifier it gets. There's also farmlands. I don't think... Yep. Oh, there we go. We have mountains. And another common one is there's deserts. Desert hurts. There is another type that is unseen before. No, those are plains. Plains are basic. There we go. Marshland. There's marshland up here. Believe those are the primaries. There is simple terrain, you can see. Yellow is farmland. Brown is hills. Green is forest. Black is mountains. Marsh is blue. And there we go. Light green over the plains. And then the bright yellow... the brown down here are desert. That'd be jungle. Yeah, there is jungle over here too. There we go. Which hurts pop growth, supply limit, and movement costs. They got elephants though. I mean, that makes everything better. You gotta have those elephants. Alright. Hopping back in. You have your civilization level. This can go up or down. Typically it goes up. And people like it. People like citizen and civilization unless they're tribesmen, and then they're very unhappy. They don't want running water and aqueducts and houses and roads. They don't care. Barbarian power, how much they have power here. It's not so important in your civilized areas, but it is a bit of a problem where we are down here. Because you can see we've got well, there's no barbarian power at the moment. But they have a good chance of coming out. Yep, here. They're ready to explode. Here, we killed them a little while ago. So, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. They pop out and they wander down here. We have to kill them or they knock our civilization level all the way down. Alright, under that is your garrison. How many troops are working there? This garrison is ignored. I wonder why it's ignored. These garrisons are ignored, so they only have 500 troops. If we come up to our capital, I suppose... Oh, I know why. Because they turned fort maintenance down. That would be why they're ignored. You put it back up. They should go up to 1,000 troops. Takes a little bit, though. If we put them all the way up, they will go up even more. Yep, 1,100 plus 10%. So a little more. The more troops, the longer the fort can hold out. The better chances it has. You also have your supply limit, which is affected by a number of things, and that basically affects how many troops can stand there. If you select your army and hover over it, you can also see supply limit equals 106, 40, 41. Well, if we come down here and grab these guys, 8, 10, 19. And the desert still causes attrition, even if they have enough supply. It's why our troops are standing up here in the plains. Because they really don't want to die to attrition. And next up, you have your attrition levels. You can see they're basic up here. There's 0. Again, we click those desert. They cause 1 attrition. You can also see if you're invading somebody, the attrition caused by their fort and such. Then down here at the bottom is the impact on provincial loyalty. The loyalty going up, the loyalty going down. Disloyal provinces have a chance to lead to civil war and rebellions and all sorts of issues. Over here, it shows all the cities that are in this province. You can click between them what resources they have. Handy little thing. I don't tend to use it very often, but it is there. It also shows you who else owns cities in that province. As you see, we're splitting this province between us and Macedon because Macedon, well, they got there first. Or down here, we're splitting between Egypt, Phrygia, and Macedon. It's a little bit of a busy place. And then up here is where you change your governor. You click there, you can pick the person. It sorts by finesse. You always do want to check loyalty, though. Because if they're disloyal, they will rebel against you. And then here's where you can change the government policy this way. I believe that shows everything. One thing, showing character sheets. There's a character sheet. You get their different skills. Martial, finesse, charisma, and zeal. You can see their prominence. Prominence is important for the fame and things like that. If you're more prominent, you're likely to get married and have babies. Babies are important. Your popularity. This can lead to trouble with rebellions and such if they're too popular. Loyalty, if it's going up or down. You see, he's going down because he has loyal cohorts. It's not good. Their corruption level, which is more effective for you as the ruler, more important there. Their main religion, their main culture, what government they belong to, because you can force click on people from other countries. Their personality, which affects their traits and other possibilities, such as like when he's a commander, his reinforcement speed is lower. It's pretty bad. Here's the things you can do with them. Hover over. There's a lot. Some things are only available if they're in prison. Most of them cost points of some type. You can see who they're married to, who their children, their mother, their father, their siblings, if they got friends, rivals. Their friends and rivals are a base of 2. That's affected by their traits. If they have any temporary modifiers, which we have none. Sometimes you'll get someone who is seeking treatment because they are ill. And that will go there. Right here is their holdings, which we've looked at. If they have a current command, like our general over here. If you click on it, it'll take you to them wherever they are on the map. Same for if they've got holdings. It'll take you to wherever their holdings are on the map. It's how much money they have in their personal bank accounts. If you are doing interactions with them, such as, oh, I forgot. One of these, yeah, there we go. Reward veterans. This one costs Crete. Some of these will cost your own personal monies, which if you look at your ruler, you've got monies. And then this shows who is next in line for the throne from this person. Like, who do they support to be in the throne? We go to her. She's supporting mostly different people. How much power her succession support has. She's a family of the ruler. Well, like, this lady is family of the ruler. Let's find somebody who's not family of the ruler, please. Thank you. Yeah, he has no succession support. No one cares about him being on the throne. Only those of the Ano family. The time this would be changed is if maybe there's no one left in the Ano family, and then someone else could possibly try and steal the throne. That's where prominence is also important. But I hope this video helped. It's, again, a little bit on the long side. But if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Bye, guys!